Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome in. This is it. Win, you go on. Lose, you go home. It's Game 7 tonight. Avs Stars. Megan, sounds like we were talking a little bit before we hit record here. Sounds like you're doing pretty well today.
Yeah, I think the other part is I probably will feel the nerves when I see the game on my TV and the puck hits the ice. Because it hasn't set in that it's real, because I'm just sitting at home in my Princess Pink bedroom. Like, my world is perfect here. But I think things will start to get real when I'm in the studio watching the game. It will all set in and the nerves will be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I think this is the really fun part of it. Like, I know it's like this is one of those moments where it's like, if you're a team, like, you don't have any dog in the fight, these are the best possible games, best possible moments. So I think that's just kind of where I'm at. Like, hey, we've gotten to see 6 outstanding hockey games in this series, and we're gonna get to see one more. And so I'm excited, Megan. There's a quiet calm around both teams today, around the coaches, and so I do. I just think everyone's treating it as like, hey, aren't we lucky? And also Gabe Landeskog this morning, I was going to ask him, and then I believe it was Emily Kaplan who asked him right before I was able to jump in, just about like the perspective on a game like tonight, on a series like tonight, not only for Gabe, and you asked about this actually of Jared Bednar, I think it was earlier this week at the airport, about like him being able to give the perspective of his journey from the last 3 years. I'm like, guys, this isn't that big of a deal. Tonight's just a hockey game. Like, and he talked just a little bit, not in those words, but, and yeah, just like I said, I think there's good perspective all around. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see a good hockey game.
I am too. I think both teams have this thing of needing all of these pieces to fall into place almost perfectly, right? And I think that gives me a little bit of assurance, but also a little bit of nerves that the margins of error have been so thin throughout the whole course of this series. But I defer to the maturity and the leadership of a player like Landeskog. But I'm also looking at Cale Makar and Devon Taves and Nathan McKinnon to kind of be a steadying presence for this group. And I have a lot of belief in that core. Honestly, even just Eric Johnson being there, like just having some of that core intact from the 2022 team, and then, of course, Gabriel Landeskog's story, it gives me a little bit of optimism.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, Megan, let's get into it here. We heard yesterday, both Miro Heiskanen and Robertson, I kept wanting to say Robert Thomas, and that's not the right player. Jason Robertson, both were on the ice today, but Pete DeBoer did tell the media yesterday both those players are out tonight for Game 7. So the Stars will be once again going without Heiskanen, without Robertson. The Stars are going with the same lineup. And from everything that we could see from the Avs this morning, it looks like they are as well. Ross Colton was on the ice in a red no contact, so nice to see him out there. But no lineup changes. For me, I think that's the right move, Megan. I think this is the lineup that gives you the best shot. Your thoughts on Sam Malinsky staying in and things like that?
Yeah, I think it's the right move. The narrative of the series dictated that too. Seeing that both teams tighten things up defensively. Jake Ottinger's been playing great. You want to make sure you have the best offensive weapons out there to give you a chance to create, and Malinsky does that. I know that he had a difficult shift at the end of Game 6 that I think maybe people would hold against him. That's where maybe some of his lack of experience shines through, but I thought he played lights out 80% of that game, and it's just gotten better as the series has gone on. And so I think it would be a miss to not utilize some of the offensive gifts that Malinsky has. Just putting the pucks to the net, but the speed and the puck skill, even just on the breakout, makes a difference, and I've seen it realized in this series. So makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, there was even a moment in Game 6 where he took on one shift, just hammered a few pucks on net. And it was what you and I had talked about of hey, this is a player in a series And in games where you need as many pucks to the net as you can with traffic and bodies, there was one shift in particular that really stood out to me because he didn't have great looks either time, like they weren't clear lanes, but he was like, yeah, I'm taking this puck and I'm sending it towards the net. And maybe you want to see a little bit better shot selection at times, but I just love that mentality. So I'm with you. I think what you said, like the style kind of dictated the fact that he needed to be in the lineup.
Do you remember the shift too, where he set a puck on net, got his own rebound, and started to juke guys? It ended up getting worked off him, but it was cool, and I just Cale Makar-esque.
Yeah.
Obviously, the esque is where the puck gets stripped from him. But you know what? Everyone's been running into that. Dallas has just been very aggressive in their coverage in their own end.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's we talked about it when Sam Malinsky was going in, that he is maybe a player that just could catch some people off guard with that Cale Makar-esque skill set that he's got, that just maybe that's not something. They put so much time into scouting Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon. There might be teams that don't fully know what Sam Malinsky is capable of. Megan, we're going to talk about our keys to the game. I do want to remind everyone about our great partners over at Accurate America, helping make this trip and all this coverage possible. Look, you never know when or where the hail is going to come from when those summer storms hit. And the last thing you want to do is be caught scrambling when it does. So make sure you're calling before the storm. Call Accurate America. They'll partner with you on navigating insurance, provide a quick, professional, and knowledgeable service using the latest technology and 3D modeling. And their work is guaranteed for as long as you own the home. So if you're in the home now, you're there 20 years later, 50 years later, they're guaranteeing that work as long as you stay there. Don't scramble at the last minute. Call Accurate America, 303-900-ROOF, and make sure you call them before the storm. Again, that's 303-900-ROOF. Megan, let's get into it here. Keys for the game. Pete DeBoer said earlier in the series, the team that is going to come out better in any of these games is the team that can get to their style first and stay there. What's your first key for this game tonight for the Avalanche?
I feel like I'm copying and pasting some of our keys from before.
That's all right.
Because Game 6 demonstrated why they're all so important. It is important for the Avs to start this game then playing Avalanche-style hockey. Pete DeBoer, he's exactly right. The Avs are at their best and their strongest by opening up the scoring and having a strong start. Even before Val Nichushkin opens up the scoring in Game 6, they're getting some looks at Ottinger and forcing him to make saves early. And I don't want to know what this series would look like if the Avs didn't have that kind of start. So it's incredibly important for them to have intensity from the drop of the puck. Obvious, the other part of that is sustaining it over the course of the game, but it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's Jared Bednar even said this morning, like, we want to play with the lead here in this game. We don't want to be chasing these guys. So that fast start. I'm with you, Megan. My keys are going to be a lot of copy and paste from what we've seen over the last handful of games. But to your point, it's because they are so important. I'm going to go with one, and I'm going to change my wording on it a little bit from what I used last time. I'm going to say win the special teams battle. I'm not going to focus on power play or you got to score a goal or you got to come out ahead in the special teams battle, whether that means ahead or even, whether that means you don't score a goal on the power play, but you keep them at zeros as well. If you're able to capitalize, and you got to win the special teams battle or come out even at best. Dallas has feasted in big moments on the power play. I think the Avs' kill has actually been pretty good in this series, but it seems like at key times, Dallas has gotten a power play and used that as a way to wiggle their way back into a game. The Avs just can't let that happen tonight if they're going to want to find themselves in a position in the third period to close things out.
I think, too, we found ourselves in hindsight reflecting on the significance of a power play after the fact. Like, the Avs needed to capitalize on this one because in hindsight, we see that was maybe some of the best opportunity they were going to get, right? So I agree with your assessment that they need to neutralize special teams in that way. If they're not going to capitalize on the power play, which they should, right? They made 3 power play goals now through 6 games. It's 5 through 6 games for Dallas. They need to get a little stronger in that area, but discipline. So I'll defer to discipline being important because officiating has come up as a big conversation now, and I am hoping that the refs just let these guys play their games, and it's not interrupted by whistles unless there's a real safety issue, a real egregious penalty at hand. Obviously, that should be called. But I want to see these guys just playing hockey, and I want to see the Avs continue to be above the fray, because it is clear that Dallas has had some strategy around players like Mason Marchment trying to bait Colorado into doing bad things. Yep. And that's when the Avs step outside of themselves, right? And they do uncharacteristic things. And so yep. I want them to kind of ignore that side of Dallas's strategy too by staying above the fray.
Yeah, I think that's a great call out. You and I talked on the show yesterday about Pete DeBoer coming out in the media and calling out the refs, and that this is something that he's done before and has typically resulted in him getting a favorable call. So making sure, like you said, you stay above board on that. Is discipline your second key?
Yes.
Or is that building off the special team stuff? Because I think it's important as well.
Yeah, I'll make discipline too a little more dimensional by adding attention to detail is discipline too. So couple that in with not only being disciplined by staying out of the box, but the attention to detail in your own end. I think that they've been pretty strong, but that's also where the lapses cost them a little bit. And honestly, I think it's lapses like that on the kill. And so I think it has been an otherwise good kill. And it's just important for them to have attention to detail on their own end.
Yeah. Second key for me, Megan, and this is going to be kind of a broad one. The second key is the home plate area. On both ends of the ice for me. You've talked so much in this series, and I think you're one of the only people that I've heard talking about the rebounds and the chaos that can unfold in front of Mackenzie Blackwood. And if you think back to Game 6, those 4 goals that Dallas scored, all of them come from high danger areas, right in the slot, right in front of the net. The Avs need to protect the house a little bit better. And on the flip side, they need to do more of what we saw in Game 6 of getting to Jake Ottinger. There is no reason to believe that he's not going to have another outstanding game tonight like he has for the first 6 games of this series. So the Avs got to do what they did in Game 6, make life difficult for him, get pucks to the front of the net, and then follow them there. Picking up rebounds, tap-ins, or even creating enough chaos to get a hilariously lucky bounce like they did in Game 6. But like you and I said, in the same way that Dallas earned those bounces in Game 5, fluky ones that go off the back of Mackenzie Blackwood and things like that. It's the same thing there on that goal that Nathan MacKinnon was credited with. It looked like a dead play, but he continues to drive, gets the puck to a dangerous area, and good things happen. So the home plate area on either end is the second key for me.
Yeah, I think the Avs have been their most dangerous when they earn that inside ice. And it's even where players like Makar have been able to get back to their game, and that takes a little bit of time and space being allowed at the top too. And so the key to that has been speed on entry, and it goes back to the battle between the blue lines, and whoever wins the neutral zone is probably winning this game, because that means that they are getting the transition game to where they like it, attacking with speed, but it also means that they're defending while getting back, and they're slowing down the team that's trying to make an entry into their own end. And so I think that's an important key, and it's the bottom line. Like the Avs are at their best creatively when they can attack with speed. It starts with a good breakout. And similarly, when they slow Dallas down through the neutral zone and stand them up at the blue line, it makes the quality of their chances a little harder to get dangerous, to be more meaningful. And so I think it's tough for this game. I feel like I have more than 3 keys, but I'll go with the win the neutral zone battle as the final one.
Yeah. No, Megan, you and I have talked about this, not just on air, but amongst ourselves in the press box and things like that as this series has gone on, of that really has felt like, of everything that we've talked about, whether it be goaltending, special teams, whatever, I feel like the team that has done exactly what you just said has been the team that has come out on top in all 6 games so far. Who controls the middle, I guess that's not the right way to say it, it's in the middle portion of the ice, but the neutral zone. Who wins the battle there, I feel like, has been the team that has been carrying the play and ultimately coming away with the win. So I think that's critically important. Here's my final key for me, and it's your top players. The Avs' top players, we've talked all series long. That is where the Avs are going to have the edge over almost any team that is left in the playoffs, is you're going to have the best player on the ice. Cale Makar gets the empty net goal a couple nights ago. You hope that can break him out a little bit, but it was Dallas's top players that got them back into that game and that were looking to close the Avalanche out. The Avs' top players need to respond here tonight with a big performance, big effort. Yeah, you're going to want to see some additional, depth contributing in. There's already a Game 7 Kivy. I've already heard those 3 words about 20 times this morning. And hey, this is his moment, right? But I think about guys like Arturi Lehkonen, Marty Netchis, who had a good game in Game 6, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Gabe Landeskog, Brock Nelson, Val Nichushkin. Those are the guys that if they are setting the tone in the right way, the Avs are going to be putting themselves in a good spot.
I think it's a good call out and makes me feel better about not having more keys to the game because we're keeping it to 3, because it is so important for the top players to have resilience too. They are being targeted by Dallas in how they're being shut down. And so it makes it hard for the Cale Makars to do Cale Makar things, right? Mm-hmm. And so they need to be resilient because they can still, now they can each be a threat on the ice at once. And I think that it's been a matter of them realizing that over the course of this series. And at the same time, you have Rupe Hens and Mikko Rantanen on the heels of an incredible second Game 6. And so it's at the time in the series where those players are also taking those strides forward that you need to see Val Nichushkin, Cale Makar take an even bigger step. Arturi Lehkonen just has to keep doing all the things he's been doing. The process has been so good behind it. And so you're exactly right. The Stars need to be the Stars tonight. And I think that will be another deciding factor, right? Like win the neutral zone battle, also goaltending, but also which team's stars show up the most. Yeah.
Who can win that skill battle, if you will. All right, Megan, we're going to get into our key difference makers here, but I do want to tell you guys about our great friends over at Johnson Auto Plaza. Megan, I love doing these reads because I've been hearing Johnson Auto Plaza ads my whole life, listening to sports talk radio and stuff like that in Denver. So it's really fun to be like, presented by Johnson Auto Plaza. Experience the power of the Plaza at Johnson Auto Plaza. Why shop 3 different dealerships when Johnson Auto Plaza is 3 dealerships in one? You'll find over 40 acres of Ram GMC and Chevy trucks or Jeep Wranglers, Rubicons, Grand Cherokees, and Wagoneers, GMC and Chevy SUVs, and so much more. Visit johnsonautoplaza.com today and feel the power of the Plaza. This is the Guerrilla Sports Off-Ice pre-game show, Game 7 here, and we are brought to you guys by Accurate America. I joke all the time. I got a great buddy back home in Denver. We talk about the unpredictability of the hail and just the weather this time of year. You're always like, oh, nice. Denver, awesome. Summer's right around the corner. Nope, hailstorm. Your whole weekend's ruined. So make sure you guys are calling before that happens. If you see it on your weather app, on the news, anything like that, on the forecast that the hail is coming, make sure you guys are calling Accurate America. They are the best in town. 303-900-ROOF. Give them a call before the storm. They're going to help you navigate insurance. They're going to guarantee that work for as long as you own the home. 303-900-ROOF. Accurate America, helping make all this coverage possible. Megan, you and I nailed it a couple nights ago on our difference makers. We had Arturi Lehkonen and Val Nichushkin. They both factor into the first 2 goals. Val Nichushkin adds another one later. Who is your difference maker for the Avs here tonight, Game 7?
I was torn between 2, but I feel pretty good about going with Gabriel Landeskog.
Nice.
And I loved his line about another day in paradise ahead of games, right on the brink of elimination. This is a guy who really embodies pressure as a privilege because this pressure means that he's playing hockey again. And I don't know if there's a greater storyline that I'm pulling for than Gabriel Landeskog's. And I also think that can add a jolt of something special to a team. We've seen it too in how effective he's been through 4 games, a point per game player here. But I think that the leadership that he brings is hard to measure and something that can be a huge difference maker in a Game 7.
We were sitting here for morning skate, and Pierre LeBrun said, guys, if this gets to overtime, there's only 2 acceptable outcomes. You all know that, right? If it's Dallas that wins, it's Mikko Rantanen scoring. And if it's the Avs that win, it's Gabe Landeskog scoring. So, you can definitely feel that the Gabe energy. And Megan, I'm going to go with another one of the top players that feels like the obvious answer. I'm going with Nathan McKinnon. 4 game sevens for him so far in his career, and he's got 1 assist. Nathan MacKinnon is a perennially elite playoff performer, doing it again in this series. The numbers he's put up in the amount of games that he's played is unbelievable, but there's been something about game sevens that has been hard for him to break through. Not only they haven't won one yet, he's 0-4 in game sevens, but his individual stat line isn't great either. I think he's going to be someone who makes a difference tonight and helps this core get over the game 7 hump. And in the process, he's going to make a big impact on that as well.
I love it. My honorable mention was Mackenzie Blackwood. And
that was mine too.
Look, if this gets clipped, I'm not taking credit for it. Okay, everyone knows Gabe Landeskog was my real difference maker choice. But
I'll take credit, Chloe. If you're going to clip this, I'll take credit.
But Mackenzie Blackwood is our collective bonus option difference maker, because it's his first game 7 and we don't have a body of work to compare it to, but I sure feel so good about what he's done in this series so far. And I wanted to talk about this just quickly. The way that Jared Bednar talks about Mackenzie Blackwood is not how I've seen a coach talk about a goaltender before. He seems so connected to who Mackenzie Blackwood is as a competitor. Whereas we'd ask questions about Georgiev, and Bednar would defer to Georgiev, like, you're going to have to ask him that when it came to questions about mindset and mentality. But Jared Bednar confidently answers questions about Mackenzie Blackwood and his mindset, because I think that coach to goalie, there's a really good connection between the two, a really good understanding of what Mackenzie Blackwood is, because in a way that I didn't think was possible. You know how we say that's a Jared Bednar guy when we're talking about skaters? Mackenzie Blackwood is a Jared Bednar guy as a goaltender. And I love Logan O'Connor, Jared Bednar guy. I love Parker Kelly, Jared Bednar guy. I love Mackenzie Blackwood because he's a Jared Bednar guy. And I'm going to say that's a player that can make a difference in a game 7.
I mean, look, he had the Avs lost game 6, it would have been really easy to say, yep, Mackenzie Blackwood got out-dueled by Jake Ottinger. He's going to have to do that again tonight. Like I said, I have no reason to believe that Jake Ottinger is suddenly going to fall apart after 6 excellent games in this series. Mackenzie Blackwood's going to have to be better than him on the other end. So I almost think that he's someone that, like, he's going to have to be a difference maker in this game. So I like that as a joint collective secret option number 3.
There's no rules.
Yeah, we can have as many difference makers as we want. There's nobody stopping us. Megan, we're gonna wind this down here. Just your overall thoughts. It's game 7. The Avs. Look, it's the San Jose Sharks. It's the Seattle Kraken. It's the Dallas Stars. It's the Minnesota Wild. They have not been able to get over the game 7 hump with this core, and there's some of that maybe doesn't make sense. What are just kind of your overall thoughts on what you're expecting to see from this Avalanche team? I'm sure there's a little bit of nervous energy in there.
Yeah, it does feel like a coin flip in terms of outcome, but not because of a lack of faith around the Avs. It's just almost cruel that this has been a first-round series matchup because of how much Dallas has had a say in this, even without Heiskanen and Robertson. And I am still feeling, though, that this is the most complete we've seen the Avs. Like, put Wild and San Jose aside for a second. Look at the Kraken game 7.
Yeah.
Machushkin, Andrew Cogliano was dealing with a crazy neck injury. The offsides goal gets called back. Like, it just felt like it's not their year, right? They have tinkered with this team so much to construct them to be a powerhouse. And so some of that still remains like Frankenstein's experiment a little bit, feeling a bit of a question mark around it. But also, this is the most complete they've been. They've got goaltending that they trust in. They've got Val Nichushkin. They've got Nathan MacKinnon. They've got Cale Makar. And they have some new players with some things to prove, too, that haven't been in this situation with the Avs specifically before. But it's kind of, if they can't break through game 7 with this team, then I have greater concerns.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. This is going to be one of the best shots that you're going to have, even though you are playing against such a talented team in the Dallas Stars. I'm with you. It is kind of one of those, like, well, if not now, when kind of moments for this core. And Yeah, I just think I think it is definitely a tragedy that this has been a first round matchup, that one of these teams is going home tonight, because this has been such a fun series, and yeah, I'm just anxious to see how these guys respond, because I think about exactly what you just said about guys like Brock Nelson, Charlie Coyle, who, yeah, haven't gone through it with this Avs group, but have that experience and want to get over the hump. And Brock Nelson wants to try to win one. And like you said, going back to the Seattle series, that was a Game 7 that I honestly even remember not thinking like, I want them to lose. But when they lost, I do remember thinking like, yeah, that was probably for the best. That was the title defense season. You could tell that the guys were near empty, and I think by the time Game 7 rolled around, the tank was on empty with everything that had happened with Val and all of that. So, yeah, and then you have the other Game 7 that they've lost to Pete DeBoer, the San Jose one with the infamous Gabe Landeskog offside, but not too many men, so he was eligible to be replaced on the ice, but yet still ineligible to be counted as a player on the bench. Just, a weird moment that will forever live in Avalanche lore. And yeah, it feels like there's a lot of those circumstances. Then even if you go back to 2014, Megan, against the Wild, it was like no one thought that they would be here. No one thought they would even be in the playoffs, let alone in this situation.
Okay. And they lost Tyson Barrie.
Right. They lost Tyson Barrie. So, you're up against it. Tonight is a situation where things have kind of come together. That is not a guarantee of a win. Like you said, the Dallas Stars have an absolute say in this as well. So the Stars are going to come out and they're going to look to build on what they've done well in past Game 7s, and Pete DeBoer is going to look to keep his perfect record alive. They're going to have a lot to say in it tonight, but the Avs are in a good position to have something to say of their own.
Yeah, do it for Gabe.
Do it for Gabe. What else you got, Megan, or is that it?
That's it.
That's all I got, too. Here we go, folks. Like we said off the top, winning you go on, losing you go home. Game 7, Avs Stars. It's a shame that one of these teams is going to be hitting the golf course next week, because it's been such a fun series. But Winnipeg St. Louis also going to 7 games. So the winner of this series will actually have to wait to see who their opponent is. So a lot of drama tonight, and then there's going to be drama even into tomorrow for whoever wins. So it's going to be a fun one. We're all looking forward to it. We'll see how this goes here tonight. Should be a fun one. We'll be back post-game with locker room coverage. We'll be here breaking everything down for you guys as well. This is it, Megan. Here we go. Game 7. This is the best time in hockey. She's Megan. I'm Jesse. That's going to do it, guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you after the game.